So here is the FI-SI loop explained. Introverted feeling, also known as FI. From the name itself, you know that this person keeps their feelings to themselves, very introverted, very intrinsic. But to be more specific, the person that has FI values authenticity and has many moral values such as kindness and compassion, being patient, always wanting to give back to society, relating to INFPs. SI, however, SI is introverted sensing, and it's more of the sensing function that is from intrinsic motivations, that is very introverted. So somebody who is SI dominated would be more practical in person, but he may not really express it outward as compared to people who are extroverted, who have extroverted sensing. And apart from knowing the definition of introverted feeling and introverted sensing, we kind of also need to know extroverted intuition when it comes to INFPs, because that is really the auxiliary function or the primary function or the secondary function of an INFP that really helps them to inculcate this very strong and very unique characteristics of INFPs, which is their open-mindedness. So extroverted intuition, right, meaning that they look at a bigger picture but they express it outwardly, and that means that they are very much open to every single possibility. So for example, they can be very interested in math for one day, and then they can be interested in pottery the other day, right? So that is the extroverted intuition. Introverted feeling is caught in this loop where introverted feeling and introverted sensing are communicating with one another, and actually they are two very conflicting cognitive functions. And here's why. Because an INFP having introverted sensing as a tertiary function, that means that they are not mature in that function, they are not dominated in that function. What's going to happen is that they don't know how to handle introverted sensing. Now, introverted sensing, as much as sensing means that this person is more practical, this person may happen to be more hands-on, right? If somebody who is dominant in introverted sensing, not only is he practical, but he is in the present time. He does not mess around too much with the past, he doesn't mess too much with the future. However, if you happen to be an INFP and you have introverted sensing as your tertiary function or nothing more than your dominant function, you may happen to go into this notion of thinking about the past too much and not being in the present mind. And that's what happens when an INFP taps into FI-SI loop, is where they start to not think about the present, they start to think about the past, and not only the past, they think about the future. And it's okay to go to those extremes, but if they go too far, right, if they keep thinking about the past when the past is already over and it doesn't really apply to them, then that is the risk of SI-SI loop. And not only that, as an introverted feeling, right, you may also question a lot about what have you done, and you may end up blaming yourself for causing whatever happened in the past. And because of FI-SI loop, you kind of get stuck into this past and present and future kind of loop. You keep thinking about the past, you keep thinking maybe about the future, but most of the time it is about thinking about the past, because the past is where you kind of leave things behind, you don't think too much about it, right? But when you come to FI-SI loop, this is what happens, and this is really what stresses an INFP out. And yes, I would say FI-SI loop is really the reason why INFPs overthink. Now, really, why does this even happen in the first place? Okay, now, for one thing that I know is that maybe we are too compromised in our extroverted intuition, the cognitive function that allows us to think of this multitude of possibilities. What happens is that maybe you are so positive, right, but the environment and the reality that gives you is negative. Okay, so that means you can be grateful, you can be happy, but if people around you still hates you, they throw you a lot of hatred, all right, what happens is that you may happen to tap into FI-SI loop, because the amount of positivity may get compromised. And although INFPs are still introverted, we kind of don't really but we don't have extroverted feeling where we kind of gather everybody's information together and then make it ours, right? We kind of we still take feedback from others, all right? We're not psychopaths anyway, so we definitely do feel things, and if people throw negative comments, we definitely feel it, and that's what happens. Our extroverted intuition may get compromised. Okay, that means that there's so much positivity, there's so much of, oh, maybe he's just feeling bad on that day, that's why he's throwing so much bad words at me. But once you get to a point where that is too much, like this person is really, I cannot, like our extroverted intuition cannot understand why is he so mean to me in the first place, then you may tap into FISI loop, where you think like, oh my god, I've been too nice to this person, right? So you definitely feel pictures of that in your lifetime as an INFP. As an INFP, you may question, how do I get out of this FISI loop? Or some of you may categorize this as, how do I get out of overthinking? Now this is from the theory itself, and because I mentioned about extroverted intuition, this is what you need to do. You need to exercise more about extroverted intuition. Yes, I know that goes against what have you done, but it is very important that an INFP still stays true to themselves. Definitely we tend to think about stuff and we try to figure things out, but it's still important that we stay true as a person, as to ourselves, and always follow your introverted feelings, right? The things that really gives you values and the authenticity that people cannot replicate from INFPs. So I want you to really figure out what can you do right now. As in, right now, if you're stressed and if you're in an FISI loop, let's say you're on the bus and you start to think about bad things in the past, right? Let's pick up what is in the bus. There's people in the bus, there's air conditioning in the bus. There's but nothing that is actually affecting you physically, but in your head. That's why you need to figure things out. That's why you need to notice that all of this is inside your head. It is inside your head because these FISI loops keep playing. And I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you for thinking about this, but this is a way for you to get out of the FISI loop, is to actually stay present, right? So what's happening to you right now? Like in this bedroom, what's happening? There's a fan that's blowing, that's why you may hear some background noise. Okay, fine. There's sun, right? There's lights, there's everything, but there's nothing really damaging me or affecting me. There's a camera in front of me, I understand. Yeah, there's a camera in front of me. So when you pick these things out, you realize that you're in a place where you're quiet. Alright, it's the noises in your head that you really need to get out. And so here's what you can do. So that's what you do, pick things out, you kind of describe, right? Use your creative writing, describe the place that's around you, that's happening around you, not in your head but outside. Point to objects that you can see. Is this making noise? Is this bed in front of me making any noise? Is this chair? Oh. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I put my trap on the bed, but sure. Does this chair behind me make any noise? Exactly, it doesn't make any noise. So think about that, and then kind of incorporate that into how you're gonna get out of the FISI loop. Another thing is that FISI loop, you can look into doing more things, exploring basically, because we are going to tackle on extroverted intuition that has been overreacted, if not underreacted, or has been demoralized, I would say. So when it comes to extroverted intuition, here's what you need to do, is to really go and explore more things, learn new skills, be open to possibilities. Okay, and if you need more positivity in your life, which I think that you need to at this point in time, watch my videos for positivity. Okay, and always think positive, because we can do it, INFPs. We actually can. Alright, but I understand that if you're stuck in the FISI loop, it's really tough. But let's just look at the positive side. So extroverted intuition, what can you think about, right? So let's try learning new things. Let's try editing a video for one day. Let's try recording yourself speaking on your phone, right? Do things that are different, and that way you can actually exercise and open up that loop, right? So that you kind of get out of that loop. Do you see that? Because that's how things work according to the theory. So yeah. Alright, so that's all for the video today. If If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more, and click on the notification bell for more INFP content. And if you are an INFP that is also interested in what I actually usually post, which is like 80s culture references, yeah, I like 80s pop, okay? Got more dancing, singing, and more music coming through, because INFPs, we are music creators, right? I mean, I'm just saying, okay? So anyway, stay tuned for more content just like this.